Does the Bible approve of slavery? Let's go unpack this for a second. I'm Josiah Douglas. I do biblical inspiration and motivation here on YouTube 5 days a week. If that's the kind of thing that you're into, go ahead and hit subscribe and we can do this every day together. I was just reading Exodus 21 and it's this whole chapter in the Bible that's talking about rules about how you should treat your slave, which got me thinking, does the Bible actually say that you should have slaves? Slavery's been around in one form or another basically since the beginning of time. Throughout history, people have taken other people and put them to work against their will and treated them badly just to get what they wanted to do done. In the Old Testament of the Bible, the Israelites were slaves to the Egyptians, and then later we see God giving them rules about what to do with their own slaves. Exodus 21 has a lot of verses that say things like when you buy a Hebrew slave or when a man sells his daughter as a slave, almost as if to say, yeah, slavery is inevitable. You're gonna sell your kids as slaves, you're gonna buy slaves, you're gonna sell other people as slaves. It almost sounds like as if God's saying, yeah, slavery's fine in my book. But what are we supposed to do with that when God's supposed to be all-knowing and all-powerful and this good, gracious God, but he's saying things like that you're gonna sell your daughter as a slave? There's one verse that really stands out to me here in chapter 21. It's verse 16. Let me read it to you. It says, "Whoever steals a man and sells him, and anyone found in possession of him shall be put to death." It almost sounds like this verse is going against what the rest of the chapter is talking about. The rest of the chapter is saying, when you have a slave, do this, and when you sell your daughter, do that. But then this verse says that anyone who steals somebody, that person's doing a bad thing, and that person is doing such a bad thing, they need to be put to death. And anyone who buys this person that they stole, they need to be put to death too. It seems to me like maybe the Bible is using the word slave a little bit differently than you and I would do. I would define a slave as someone who's been taken against their will out of the life that they know to be forcibly put to work for somebody else. If that's the case, then I think slavery is pretty bad. It's something nobody should be doing, and it's definitely something a good God shouldn't be advocating. But after digging into chapter 21 just a little bit, I don't think God's advocating for that at all. In this chapter, it seems like when God is talking about slaves, he's actually talking about people who willingly go to work for somebody else. Almost as if a slave is somebody who willingly goes and says, hey, I'm poor, I don't have anything and I don't have any money. Can I live with you and I'll work for you for a place to live and food to eat until I can get back onto my feet? I think that's the kind of slave that chapter 21 is talking about. So I think that Exodus chapter 21 is talking about a different kind of slave than what you and I are talking about. It's not talking about slaves who are forced into labor or taken away from their families and made to do things they don't want to do. It's talking about slaves who voluntarily become slaves because they don't have anything else they can do. And I think in this culture and in this time that the Israelites were living at right now, that was perfectly acceptable, a thing that people did all the time. In fact, chapter 21 specifically says not to do the things that you and I would think of as making people slaves. Verse 16 clearly says that if you're going to steal somebody, then you need to be put to death. And anyone that you sell this person to, they need to be put to death too. That seems like a pretty harsh punishment if God's going to say that slavery is okay, right? So I don't think that the Bible is saying that slavery is okay at all. In fact, I think God hates slavery as much as you and I do. I think God hates it when somebody steals somebody or deceives them and takes them away from the place that they want to be in their home and forces them to work or do labor that they don't want to do. So no, the Bible doesn't say that slavery is okay, even in Exodus chapter 21. So what do you think? Do you think the Bible advocates slavery or not? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you haven't yet, hit subscribe and hit the bell. That way you get notifications every day when I come out with a new video like this. Thanks guys, I'll see you tomorrow.